the movie that has been buzzing across the horror community as of recently. Micah Monroe, Nicolas Cage, Osgood Perkins, Longlegs. Is it worth the hype that it has been given? Let's jump into it. What is going on, my horror fans and friends? It is your boy Woodsboro Fanatic, and we are back with day 19 of my horror movie challenge, watching and reviewing a film I have never seen before. Now, this is going to be more of a quick review, more of just kind of initial thoughts, first reaction type thing, mainly because this is such a complex film. It is definitely deserving of more than one showing. Probably going to go check this out tomorrow. There is just so much to unpack with this film, and I seen it last night. I slept on it till today, and I still have not gathered the most cohesive thought in terms of how I feel about this movie. Here's what I will say. Is this the scariest movie of all time like people have been advertising it? No. Is this movie the scariest of the decade? I think it depends on who you are. I think it depends on what is scary to you. What I will say is what it says at the top of that poster, best serial killer movie since Silence of the Lambs. Absolutely, without a doubt. This movie is scary as shit. I think what a lot of people tend to forget or put into perspective when films like these come out is that horror is subjective. And again, this is something that I've touched on numerous times in other reviews that I've done. But what scares you may not scare the next person. And I've seen a lot of comments saying like this was unsettling and this was creepy and disturbing, but it wasn't scary. Now, in my opinion, those are elements of a horror film that play into fear. So if a film makes you feel those certain feelings, I think it's fair to say that it is a scary film. Now, me, I'm not somebody that scares easily, but I think a movie that can manage to make my skin crawl, make me feel unsettled, and just overall make me feel anxiety induced, for me, that has been the benchmark as of recently in terms of what is a scary movie. This movie excels in that in the absolute best ways. From the very opening of this film, it is filled with anxiety, and my heart was pumping out of my chest. Every single frame is deliberately shot and framed in a way that makes you feel uneasy, creates a sense of dread that just looms throughout the whole runtime of this film. That opening sequence is fucking insane, and it just sent an absolute chill down my spine. As soon as you see that opening scene, you know exactly what type of film you're getting into in terms of tone and mood and just downright eeriness. As I'm sure you've heard already in other reviews, Michael Monroe, Nicolas Cage, just phenomenal. The dynamic and chemistry between them two are truly captivating. Nicolas Cage is unrecognizable in this film. His approach towards taking on this role as Longlegs, the serial killer, is so fascinating. And God, every time he is on screen, it is just chilling. I mean, whether we just get a quick shot of his face, whether we get a few seconds where we get to hear him speak, just everything about him in this movie is fucking insane. Micah Monroe was incredible in this film. I thought the most impressive part about her performance was for a character that was so closed off and not very expressive in terms of dialogue. She was amazing at being able to capture emotion and expression through her face. And anytime we see her on screen, there's a sense of panic that complements the overall dread and panic that you get from the tone of the movie. Just incredible. This is definitely my favorite performance from her throughout her whole filmography. The biggest element in this film that stands out to me in terms of creating that sense of dread is absolutely, without a doubt, the score. It is fucking skin crawling. And between this film and The Black Coat's Daughter, Osgood Perkins, he's just right up my alley in terms of the type of horror I like. the way he's able to establish the tone that he is looking to set is just masterful. And his films fucking make me feel uncomfortable. That's what I'm looking for when I'm watching horror. While this is a serial killer film, I thought the way the themes of religion were implemented throughout this was very clever, and for someone who's not religious in any aspect, is very easy to grasp onto. But it just felt very original in terms of the idea behind it and the execution. I think when done right, religious horror can be a good subgenre of horror, and I thought this was an excellent example of that. Again, there's so much more I want to talk about with this film, but I'm definitely in need of a rewatch, so I'll probably do more of a deep dive once I do get that rewatch. But to wrap this up, guys, this is an experience. This needs to be seen on the big screen. I think this is definitely going to be good at home too. This has so much rewatchability, but the atmosphere and the tone and just the overall vibe of this film is something that needs to be experienced in theaters on the big screen with a crowd. And that's another thing. I had an awesome crowd experience where everyone was locked in, silent. I think we were all kind of just taken back by what we were seeing. Go check this out, guys. Definitely worth the hype. For my initial watch, I gave it 9.5 out of 10. On Letterboxd, I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. As of right now, this is the best horror movie of the year. This is my favorite of the year. This is the scariest film of the year for me.